That's quite cool.
Yeah, and being excited about the destination to the customer helps them get excited for
I
the
can
holiday.
imagine, yeah. They'd be absolutely buzzing if thinking, you're more excited than we are.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast Chat. And we have a very, very special guest today. We've got Sam. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Adam.
So, funny story about this, right? I didn't actually message her to start off with to initiate the conversation. We saw each other out on Easter, didn't we?
We did. It was very drunk.
I'm going on the podcast. And you thought I forgot, but because I don't drink, I messaged you, and here we are.
I don't know. When I seen the message come up, I was like, oh no. I remember that conversation now.
But yeah, that was funny. So how would you introduce yourself then to like any viewers or listeners for the first time? So if you meet someone for the first time, what would you say?
Yeah. So I'm Sam, I'm 25 and I live in ABTA and I have my own travel agent business that I run from home.
Very cool, very cool. That's a very good answer as well. So I prepped you for the 3 facts.
You have, yeah?
You're going to do it off your notes?
Yeah.
What are you saying for the 3 facts then?
So my first one is I have a massive passion for travel. I've backpacked around lots of different countries in the world. And I first went backpacking when I was 18 to Australia. My favourite country I've been to is Guatemala, which I went to in December last year.
Why Guatemala then?
I think because it is a little bit different to what other countries I've been to. I done a active volcano hike there, which was like one of the best things I've ever done. And like, I've never experienced anything like it. So we hiked up one volcano and camped on there. And then we watched like the other volcano erupt through the night. It was just insane. I've never seen anything like it. Yeah.
A surreal experience.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
So Guatemala, what were you kind of like expecting then compared to what it was like? Because I wouldn't even know what to expect.
Yeah, I didn't really know what to expect, to be fair. I knew some people that had been, and so I'd seen like things that I wanted to do there, and that kind of gave me the idea to go. But I didn't know what to expect. I knew it would be a bit different to other places I'd travelled because I'd never been to Central America before. But yeah, it just surprised me, and I loved it. Yeah, scenery, everything was so good.
Experiences are such an important part of life.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Second one?
My second one is I love going hiking in the lakes, and in lockdown I started ticking off the Wainwrights. So I've now done 110. So
110?
So I've got 104 left to tick off.
Yeah.
But they're all a bit of a further drive away now, so it's like a full day out. I need to think to them, but no, it's good exercise, and it's like we're so lucky to live so close to the lakes.
Yeah, perfect place. So what made you take that up then?
I think it was just because like I needed something to do in lockdown. I was on furlough a lot longer than some of my friends, and like we've got the lakes so close to us, so just thought, I think I'd done like Cat Bells first, and I was like, I actually quite like this, and everyone goes to like Cat Bells, one of the first ones, and then I thought, right, let's start ticking them off.
That's cool.
Set myself a little challenge.
Yeah. So when are you going to finish the over 104 then? Are you setting yourself a time limit?
I'd like to do it before I'm 30. Yeah. So I've got a few more years.
Yeah, you've got plenty of time.
It's slowed down a lot in the last couple of years.
You're not as old as me, so it's fine. Then the third one. What's the third one?
My third one is I've had horses since I was 7. I used to compete for British eventing. So I'd go all over the country competing my horse beauty in eventing. So you do like dressage, show jumping and cross country.
Oh, nice. So how did you get into that then?
Just from like, I got my first horse when I was 7 and used to do like unaffiliated competitions around like local area and pony club. And then just kind of worked my way up and started doing like more once I got my horse beauty. I wanted to get more into cross country, and eventing was the way for it. So they're all over Britain, and you can so I do like there's maybe 4 or 5 local ones around us, and then ones further afield as well.
Cool. Let's go back to a little Sam then. What you were like growing up.
Yeah.
So any like burst memories, anything like you maybe look back to now when you were younger that kind of like makes sense to who you are today? Like anything that you think, oh yeah, I was like that and now I'm like this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any first memories? What you're thinking?
So I've always been like quite a social person growing up. I remember always enjoying like our family holidays. We'd always go skiing, so that's like a big passion of mine, and I've gone on to like do a ski season and things since. So but when I was growing up, I I went to ABTA school, which is like a really small primary school, and our year was only like 7 people. So
that's so small.
It's so small. And most of all of the others went on to Nelson, and I was the one that went to Stillif. So I can always remember like going to secondary school was like, oh my God, I'm not going to know anyone. But it was good. It was like a bit to get you out of your comfort zone. But yeah, I was always a social person. Again, that was the time when I was like competing the horses.
So when you're competing with the horses then, was that like quite a solo sport, or was there any like kind of camaraderie or like team? Because obviously you're competing against other people, aren't you? But Are you like friends with those other people, or is it more just like you're in your own lane and you're just like doing your own thing?
No, so I was in different clubs and things with the horses, so you weren't really in teams as such, but you built like friendships with the other people that was there and in your team. My best friend Sadie, she done it as well, so we kind of went together to a lot of the competitions. But yeah, you got to know people through that.
I suppose that would be like weird for my brain to process. Like you're friends with them, but you're competing against them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'm your friend, but I'm going to beat you out.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. So then, what else did you enjoy then about like school when you were little? Did you enjoy like the academic side, or was it just loving the horse riding, that kind of thing?
I didn't enjoy school, to be fair. I couldn't wait to finish and start earning money instead. I always like knew I didn't want to go to like uni or anything like that. I knew that when I'd finished at secondary school, that was enough for me. So I went on to college to do an apprenticeship, and that was in business and administration, because I didn't really know what I wanted to do at that time. It was just a case of I need to do something.
Yeah, it's such a hard thing, I think, for kids and like us as well, when you're like asked at 16 or 18, what do you want to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Like you don't even know who you are as a person, let alone what you want to do forever, especially like parents' generation. I don't know what your parents are like, but say my dad's done the same job since he finished uni and he's been in the same job ever since. But these days I feel like people can flip between a few different things, and it's not like, all right, that's my set career, I'm going to do that for the rest of my life. Whereas these days it's more, I want to do this, I'll try that, I like that, or I don't like that, I'm going to try something else and go there. So when you were growing up, was there anything that you aspired to be, any particular job that you thought, that's cool, I want to do that? Like the last podcast I was doing, he really wanted to be like a car mechanic and that kind of thing when he was growing up. Was there anything that you, like I wanted to be a footballer when I was growing up, like every boy. Yeah. Was there anything that you wanted to do, or was it just...
Yeah, I actually wanted to be a hairdresser.
Okay.
And I went and done, it was like a induction day at college, and I literally done the one day and I thought that job is not for me.
Why?
I just like, oh no, it just wasn't. I was like, I'm not very good at hair anyway, so I wouldn't have been very good. But and one of my best friends is a hairdresser, and we often laugh because we say like, I could not imagine me doing this job now.
Why hairdresser?
I don't know. I just think it was...
hair's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what it was when I was younger, but that's what I wanted to do.
I think hairdressing is a hard job though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Long hours on your feet, and like even though you can charge quite a lot, the margins aren't that great.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when you see like my friend doing it, she works really hard.
Fair play to them. So you went to college then, did the business administration. What was going through your head at the moment?
So my business administration apprenticeship, so I only had to go to college one day a month, and then I was based on it was a manufacturing company at Dalston. So it was all right. It was just your basic admin and answering the phones, things like that. I knew it wasn't what I'd always want to do, but I got the qualification from it. And then I was in a bit of a limbo, I didn't really know what to do. And I started working at June Shoes in House of Fraser. So I had a bit go at retail. And one of the things I hated about that was the hours, the weekends, because bank holidays when the shops are open, a long day on a Saturday when I wanted to be out doing things and not stuck in House of Fraser working. And then I started thinking, right, what can I do that will be like Monday to Friday, a bit more social hours? And I went and worked at the Cumberland Building Society. So I was the cashier. And I did enjoy that, but again, it was more of a thing. I just wanted to save up and go traveling. That was in the back of my mind the whole time. And I'd love to say, I loved my holidays when I was younger. My brothers had been traveling, so I'd kind of got the idea from them. And yeah, I just kept thinking, right, I'll just keep saving. And then when I turned 18, I booked my flight to Australia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Why Australia then?
I think just it's like one of them places. It's a good first place to go traveling. It's very popular with other backpackers, and my brother lived out there at the time, so
cool.
and I knew some other people there as well. So I thought, right, it's a good place to go. So I got my work and holiday visa, which gives you a year, and you can work and travel and things.
So then, when you're doing the Australia and you're 18, did you go on like one of the? Is it like a tour with like multiple people, or did you just go on your own?
I just went on my own.
Bloody, that's ballsy, isn't it?
So it was a big move at 18.
So it's 18, you just don't think, do you? You just don't care. You just go, really don't think things through.
I can remember, like, I was absolutely fine until I got on the flight and I changed at Abu Dhabi and I fell asleep and I like woke up when I was flying over Australia and I looked on the map and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm about to land in Australia. I was like, oh no. But no, it was a good experience. I'm glad I'd done it at that age because some people would probably say it was too young and I can understand why because I do think it was a little bit, but it's helped to get to me where I am today. So.
Yeah. What was the plan then when you went to Australia? Like, did you have anything in mind?
I didn't really have a plan, to be fair. I had like 3 nights in a hostel booked in Sydney and then I was just going to go from there. So I travelled the East Coast, flew up to Cairns and then done like a road trip down from Cairns to Sydney, which I absolutely loved. My highlights on there were like doing the Whitsundays and Fraser Island trips. And then when I got to Sydney, it was just a case of trying to find some work because I'd run out of money at this point, like most people do there. So I just was like doing admin jobs because I had my apprenticeship behind me. It was the easiest kind of thing to get through like recruitment agencies. But just living in Sydney was good. It had its ups and downs, but
everything does it.
Yeah, it's never going to be straightforward, I guess.
So if anyone was ever thinking about going to Australia then travelling, would you recommend it? Or any suggestions of what they should do before they go?
Yeah, I'd 100% recommend it because I think if you're thinking about it and you like the idea of it, like you should go because otherwise you'll just regret not trying. Some tips for going. I think no plan is a good plan because things change out there so often. Like, it all depends who you meet. And if you plan it all and you set to that like plan, you could meet someone and like if you're staying in hostels and things, you do end up meeting people and that's how like you travel. So it's nice to be flexible and be able to change and do things like that. So kind of go with the flow. Yeah,
that's good advice. So then when did you decide to come back then from Australia?
So I came back, it would have been, it's like 7 years since I went. So I spent 6 months out there. And then I came back and I went back to the Cumberland and I knew I wanted to travel again. So it was a case of saving up money. It was quite nice to be able to go back into my old job because it was something I was familiar with. And then I decided to leave in the following October and I went to Southeast Asia traveling. And I loved that because that was just, I knew I wasn't going to be working. It was just a case of you going to backpack and see what happens. So I travelled around Bali, the Philippines and Singapore. And then again, I was heading back home and I didn't really know what to do. So I applied to do a ski season because I wasn't really ready to come back and go back into work here. I knew I wanted to do something else. Yeah, back to reality. So yeah, I ended up flying out to France a few weeks after getting back and I worked as a resort rep in the Three Valleys. So because I love skiing so much and I've done it since I was younger, it was really good to do that. And it's like a really good experience. The rep job was challenging at times.
Why?
Just like so I was in charge, there was me and one other rep in charge of our hotel. So we had a transfer day every Sunday where we'd get new guests for the week. And that was the day that I found really tough. I didn't like the whole airport organisation thing. We'd transfer a bus down to the airport to take them guests back and then get all our new guests and then rep the coach back up the mountain. But yeah, it was just a very long day. We'd usually be up at like 3 a.m. to go down to the airport and then we'd have all the like lift passes and ski hire, things like that to sort for our new guests. Then do welcome meetings and that. So it ended up being you're working from like 3 a.m. in the morning till probably about 8, 9 at night. So it was a really long day, yeah. But it made up for it through the week when you got your time off and you got to ski. So.
Yeah. Then how does like a ski rep job work? Because my perception of it is just like you go over there, everyone just gets drunk and then that's about it. And the skis. What is the reality?
So we had to cover reception in our role because we were in a hotel. So we'd either do the morning shift or the evening shift. So it was really good. We did get a lot of time off, but it was really just like, as a reception job here would be in a hotel, like you're dealing with like your guest services, and people always had problems, and like they'd always come to you with different things, but that's just a part of the job. And then just like you'd do your calls through the week to get ready for your new guests come in. As I say, organising the lift passes and things like that ready for them, so that when they arrive, things are organised, they can go get sorted to be on the slopes the next morning. But there was a lot of partying and a lot of skiing as well.
What did you enjoy then about that role then?
Probably being in the Three Valleys. It's somewhere I'd skied before, and it's like one of the best areas in France. So I felt like really lucky to be in that area, and I met like a really good group of friends because we all worked for that same company and we're all living in the hotel together in the staff accommodation. You did get really close with your colleagues, so that was really nice as well. But yeah, just the full experience was really good.
Yeah, I can imagine. So what did you do next?
So that's where, when I got home,
Back to reality
again. Yeah, I knew I didn't want to go back to. I wanted to do a job that was more me, and I loved the traveling and things. And I remembered when I was in Australia, I planned some of my East Coast trip, like my Whitsundays and my Fraser Island, with like a travel agent in Cairns. And I actually thought to myself, what a good job he's got, like when he was like planning people's trips and advising them. And a job came up at a local travel agency. So I applied for that and I was taken on there. So it's an independent high street agency local to me, and I learned so much from it. And I knew that that was the job I wanted to do. Like I loved the whole thing, like planning people's holidays, getting to see people, and like help, and like I think using my travel experience to help them decide on their holidays and like advise on them. It was really good.
Yeah. So then what was the first day like then when you got the job? Obviously, like you applied. Was it like a big interview process, or was it just pretty straightforward and you got in?
It was pretty straightforward, to be fair. I did know them that owned the shop, so
that always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and from my experience and things, that helped as well from my backpacking. So no, it was good. It went pretty straightforward, to be fair.
Was it what you expected, or was it different? Was it better, or was it different, varied? Or
I didn't really know what to expect. I knew there was going to be like there's so much different things in travel, like because you've got so many different types of holidays. But it was what I expected, and probably more. Like I did really enjoy the job, and I know like I worked there when COVID hit, which was obviously such a hard time for travel. And so in the unknown, because we'd not had anything like that, where like there was these big bans and like you couldn't travel, and that was a really hard time because of, as I say, it was like the unknown, cancelling people's holidays, getting them rebooked. And it was like, I feel like it went on for that long, that it was that constant thing of the cancelling, the rebooking one, then that was getting cancelled because it just kept going into lockdown. But I'm quite glad that I worked in that industry during that time to get the experience.
Yeah, of the worst.
Yeah, like it can't get much worse. I don't think. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully not, yeah.
But yeah.
So can you remember what like the first holiday you did for someone was? Can you remember that?
I can't remember what the first one I booked
or a memorable one.
I do remember one. I booked I worked on it for quite a while, so they flew out to Singapore and they had a few nights in Singapore and stayed at the Marina Bay Sands, which is like a really famous hotel there. And I'd actually visited that hotel. They've got like a viewing platform at the top, so I just went to the viewing platform when I was traveling in Singapore. And then they went on to New Zealand and they bought on a cruise down New Zealand and Australia, and then flew home. And because again with Australia I'd been there, it was really like nice because I'd worked on it for quite a long time, that one, and just getting everything right for them. It's really nice to do that booking.
Yeah, I suppose you can kind of just vision yourself on the holiday as well, kind of like say, oh, we're going there, I remember that, and then going there, and then, yeah, that's quite cool.
Yeah, and being excited about the destination to the customer helps them get excited for
the holiday. I can imagine, they'd be absolutely buzzing thinking, you're more excited than we are. Then how did things kind of progress then after you came through COVID then? So obviously COVID was a tough time, like you say, and things booking, cancelling, rebooking and that kind of thing. And then when you saw the end of COVID, which is memorable for everybody, what was kind of on the agenda, or what were you thinking how to kick on? Yeah,
so I was furloughed for part of the pandemic, and then when I went back into work, when things were kind of getting a little bit better, but some people were still not wanting to go on holiday. Some people weren't as confident. There's the whole vaccination thing then, which caused travel again, and it wasn't as easy. And it was just a case I kept working through it, and I knew that I wanted to progress in my career in travel. I knew I didn't want to do anything else. So I did start looking at home working opportunities when things were starting to get a bit better and the world was opening up more. And I looked at a few different companies, and I had a conversation with Hayes, and I was like really excited about the idea of it. So I knew it was a good idea for me to do. I did hang on a little bit until things were a bit more, I was like confident, because I remember looking at it, and then that winter, so it'll have been like going from 21 to 22. I had a ski holiday booked, and that got cancelled because the French band had started. I thought we're not completely out of this yet. And then kind of February onwards, things were getting better. So I decided I wanted to like make the move to self-employed and go on my own. And it was a big risk to take, especially after the pandemic with travel. But I thought, whilst I live at home and I've kind of got nothing to lose, and I would have only, if I hadn't have took the risk, I'd have just wondered, I wonder what it's going to like. I thought there's more to it, and I wanted to progress in it.
Yeah, you always regret the things you don't do. That's what my mum and dad always said to me.
Yeah, definitely.
So, had you always wanted to do your own thing, run your own business and that kind of thing? Or have you never really thought about it before?
I'd not thought about it too much. My dad's got his own business, and my brother's got his own business, and so it's kind of been in the family. But yeah, I just thought, well, I didn't really know any other way to progress in my travel business, like in travel, and I knew I wanted to carry on doing the sales side of things. So yeah, I thought, right, well, give it a go, and what have I got to lose? And the only way to find out is really having a go at it. So.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people won't want to even start though. Like, it's all in their own head. Like, I was speaking to one of my friends the other day, and we had a conversation last year about something he wants to do. And then he mentioned it to me the other day when I seen him. And I was saying to him, like, if you think of where you were last year and where you are this year, and if I look where I was last year and this year, you've made like no progression.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to take that leap or take that jump, because there's no right or wrong times to do anything. The best time to do it is now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, you can do it. And if it doesn't work out, at least you know. But
yeah,
if
you've tried.
Yeah, but if you don't do it at all, then you'll always think, oh, I wish I did that. And then you'll use the excuse, I'm too old, or got a kid, or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people. That first step is the hardest thing to do. I'd imagine
Definitely.
The first day that you quit and you started, that was like, oh my God, what have I just done?
Yeah.
But then when you're like 6 months or a year and you're kind of in the rhythm, aren't you? And you think, oh, right, it's just another day, and I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that. But yeah, especially I feel like girls and women and stuff find it harder to do that. I don't know if it's like a confidence thing or what, but yeah. What was it like then when you first went self-employed?
Yeah, it was. I was really worried, but the thing, I thought, like, if I waited down the line and I had a mortgage and things like that, it'd be harder to then make that move, because you've got them overheads that you've got to cover every month, whereas because it could have gone wrong where you didn't have it. I wasn't selling any holidays, so yeah, I can remember I was really nervous, but I just thought, right, well, go for it. And then so it started with like a week of training on the Hayes systems, because I didn't really, I've come from working on a different system. But after the week I was excited about the opportunity, and I thought, no, it's like something to give a good go at. But yeah, it's just a case of, so there's about 340 home workers under the Hayes Travel, so brand, and they're called like PTC, so personal travel consultant. And although Hayes is the biggest independent travel agency in the UK, we are like completely separate to the shops. So it's totally self-employed. You bring all your own leads in. So there is an option where Hayes can give you leads, but I wanted to go in where it was my customers, and it was something that I built up, because I like the personal side of my job of knowing my customers. So a lot of my customers are local, and like the customers are like your friends. You get to know them, you get to know what they're like. You can then recommend to them for the future holidays and things like that.
So then what was the plan then starting out? Was obviously you had the experience already. How are you planning on getting that first customer in your own? That was scary. The first one's always the hardest.
Yeah. So it was
Or was the first one easy for you?
The first one was quite easy. It was my friend's brother that booked ABTA, I remember.
Great start.
So, yeah. But I had like from announcements, I set up with like a Facebook page because social media is a massive thing for advertising for me. And just like she got my friends to share it on the Facebook, so I made an Instagram, and just from word of mouth, I was busy straight away. Like I had a lot of customers come to me, so it was really good, but which kept me going. And to be fair, I haven't really had a time since where I've got no customers or I've got nothing to do. I've always been kept going, so it's really good. And as I say, I've got a lot of good customers now. And it's nice because I'm going into, so I've been set up 13 months. So it was March 2022 last year when I set up. And I do think it was like the right time because things were opening up and people hadn't been on holiday.
So they wanted to book.
So everyone was eager to get away last summer. So it was like a really good time to go into it. But I'm now seeing that them customers are coming back. They've now got like 2 or 3 bookings with me and that's what like I pride myself on, the like customer service and things and recommendations, repeat customers to keep me busy.
I suppose like that's a good thing about living around here, isn't it? The word of mouth, so powerful.
Word of mouth's massive, and like from as well being like in a local area like this, it's, you know, a lot of people. If you're in a big city and you only know like more like less people, and
they're from like everywhere else as well, whereas everyone around here is probably from around here and they talk, don't they?
Everyone knows everyone. Small towns.
Which is good and bad, isn't it, at the same time? So when you set up your Facebook and your Instagram page, then what kind of stuff were you doing on there? Because I'm interested from a personal point of view, because a lot of people say that Facebook is the one. And this is must be where I'm going wrong, is I'm focusing on other things. But Facebook, I think, is such a powerful place, isn't it, to build like a local engaged community. So then how did you, like you said, social media is such an important part for you. How did you utilize that to your strengths?
So with us on Facebook, I often post offers. So we work with loads of different suppliers. We've got hundreds of suppliers we can use for different holidays, and we've also got an in-house tour operator that we can package anything together. So they're often sending us offers that they've put together and like ideas. And then also source my own deals, which I then put onto my Facebook page. So I usually put on a few per week, and it just like gives people ideas, travel inspiration. And like that's a lot of bookings come from them. People will see them and they think, oh, that's a good idea. Or if they see a hotel they like, they'll then, maybe it's not the dates that they're looking for their holiday, but they'll message and they'll be like, oh, what's the prices for these dates? So it's really good because it just kind of, a lot of people will see them ideas and think, oh yeah, well, that looks good. And then I use Instagram as well. Probably more Instagram. I do post offers on there, but I like it for when I do like work trips and things. I'm often like posting on my stories tips for like destinations or just showing what I'm getting up to. We often do like hotel visits on work trips. So showing hotels that way. When you've been to a hotel, you can personally recommend it.
It sell really it better, kind of,
100%. And you know that if it's going to be right for the customer or not, for like what they're looking for. So Instagram I use as well. And then I've started making some TikToks. I went on a trip last year that I won through Jet2 Holidays. So it was a 4-night stay in a hotel in Turkey, and it's like a famous 5-star hotel. It's amazing. I got to take my friend and we were like living in luxury for a few days. It was so nice. And I thought, right, I'll make a TikTok of it and like advertise it that way. And I did get some inquiries back from that. It's my most liked my most liked TikTok that I've got. I think got like 17,000 views. So I was buzzing with that.
Yeah, that's really good.
Because I've not got that many followers.
That's a good thing about TikTok. So let's talk about work trips then, because so you've recently been to New York, haven't you?
I have,
and you said that was a work trip, and I was trying to think, you've been on a work trip there. So how does it work with the work trips, and like where have you been? Where's the cool places you've been on the work trips?
So I've done quite a few in the last 30 months. I've been really lucky. My first one last year was, so I set up in the March and I went on my first one in the May. So that was to Turkey with Jet2. They're called like fam trips. So you get to familiarise yourself with that destination and suppliers showcase what they offer there. So with ones, I've done one with Jet2 and I've done one with EasyJet that was pretty similar in their aspects of they show you around the hotels. You can see like different room categories, you know, what type of customer you would sell to that hotel, and seeing like the local area. So the 1-2 was around Antalya area. Jet2 hosted us to like Land of Legends theme park as well whilst we were there, for nice meals in different restaurants. And that's like personal recommendations you can then give to your customers. My next one I went on, I was really lucky to get this. Well, I think I blagged my way into this one.
You even saying lucky, I'm thinking 2 months in, you get on holiday.
I blagged my way with this one, I think, a little bit. So there's different suppliers advertise them in different ways, and you can like win a place on them, or you have to apply and say why you deserve a trip, or different things like that. And there was one advertised with Intrepid Travel. So they're a tour company, and I've done a couple of tours myself with them. I went to Africa with them, and I've had customers go to ones like same with the Africa trip, and I had a customer to Bali with them as well. So they had one come up, and it was like a sustainability one to Peru. So you had to say why you thought you deserved a place on it and how it would help you sell sustainable travel. So I didn't know much about sustainable travel, to be honest with you, but I knew I wanted to go to Peru. I was like, to get to go to Peru for a work trip would be absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah. And what month was this?
This was in August last year. I went.
All right. So you've only been in May. No, you've been in May, yeah.
Yeah, May.
And then this is August. All right. Okay. So, yeah.
Yes.
So what did you do then?
So to apply for this, I was looking at the details of what you had to do, and I was thinking, I really don't know how to say that, how I'd sell sustainable travel. So I actually wrote on the thing, I was like, wrote down the side, get me to Peru. And then I wrote like a little bit off each letter. So it spelled like, get me to Peru down the side. And then like, I kind of just winged what I said. I think it was because of what the effort I'd put into it that I got the place, not actually what I'd wrote.
Can you remember what you said then?
So I remember
the gist of it.
Yeah, I remember like for P and like providing to the local areas, because if you travel sustainably, you're using local businesses. I'd done like experiencing how like the locals would live, things like that. So
creative then, yeah,
so
that's a good idea.
Thought outside the box a little bit, but when I say, I was like, I need to go on that trip. Like Peru's always been like, South America's always been somewhere I was so like interested in going to, and it was a part of the world I'd never been. I'd never been Central South America at this point, so I was like, I want to go on that trip. And I can remember getting the email to say, and I was like, oh my god, I couldn't believe it. So it was end of July. I must have. And start of August, because I left Kendall calling early for it. I went home a day early.
What a sacrifice.
I know. I wasn't very fit for the plane mine, but
yeah, sleep off your hangover.
Yeah.
What was Peru like then?
Peru was amazing. Yeah, so it was quite nice because we got to experience a trip that we would sell to our customers. So we went to the Amazon rainforest for a couple of nights. We done Machu Picchu. We went to Cusco and Lima. It was just, and it was kind of what I expected of South America. Like, because I'd done so much research on it, it's like a place that I've always wanted to travel. I kind of I got what I want like out of it, and it was the same as what I thought it would be like. But yeah, amazing, really, really good. Machu Picchu was a highlight.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, that'd be crazy. It wouldn't seem real if I was there.
Yeah.
I've seen it on pictures and stuff. I'd be like, what?
I know, like when we were going up, it was a bit cloudy, and I was thinking, oh, hope we get the view. But we did, it cleared out. So I felt like, yeah, it was amazing.
Sick. So then what other work trips have you been on? Have you been on any more apart from the New York one?
So...
Yeah, bloody hell. I need to change my career.
I know they have. I kind of think like whenever I get the opportunity to take it, because whilst I can at the minute, and like it's more experience, I sometimes worry like, oh, we're going away too much, but I never. I know, especially for me that I love travel, and that's why I do this job. And it helps to sell. Like if I've experienced a place, it really does help.
Yeah, and good content as well.
Exactly, yeah. It's good for meeting the suppliers as well, because you've got then a contact at them companies if you've got customers going on them trips. Like, I knew somebody that went on a similar trip in Peru through Intrepid, and they had the same local leader as us. I was like, oh my, because they'd put a photo on his Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, you've got Ali. So she was like our guide. So yeah, it's just nice. But as I mentioned, we've done one with EasyJet Holidays as well, which was the same kind of setup as the Jet2 one I went to. That was to Corfu. So that was good, experiencing the hotels, seeing different resorts. And then most recently was my New York one.
So I just got back.
So it was a competition they were running through.
You're very lucky at these competitions.
Well,
right?
it was like through the peaks. So it was like the top sellers and things. So
Right.
he's got a place through that. And because I was one of the top sellers during peaks for them, it was good for me. So
nice. A nice little reward.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah.
So have you been to New York before then?
Never. So I was really excited for it when I found out. So we went for 3 nights. So we flew from London, and Gold Medal, they're like one of my main suppliers I use for any long haul, tailor-made holidays. They're quite low. They're based in like Preston. So, well, just near Preston. So I've been down to like their office and things a couple of times, and I use them quite often. They're really good. And yeah, so they partnered with United Airlines to host us, and we've seen a couple of different hotels. Part of the group stayed in one hotel and part stayed in the other, so we both got to experience different ones. And yeah, we had like attractions included. So we'd done like the Summit one, Vanderbilt, which is one of the observatories. It's like one of the newer ones. And we got exclusive access into that before it opened, which was amazing. Because we went back of a night time to see it at night as well. And it was so busy. And that really made us appreciate like getting that early access and getting it to ourselves that first morning.
Yeah.
So that was really good. And then, just done some of the highlights in New York. And I mean, New York sells itself because it's such a bucket list destination for a lot of people. But to now have experienced it, I can like even walk around the streets and things, you see where the hotels are, you see some in good locations. We've done a few hotel visits, so know what if to recommend those hotels or not. And also just like recommending trips that we've done. And like I kind of put together a bit of a top tips for my New York, and I'm going to post that on my social media.
Yes, good idea.
Of like just little things that I thought it's worth knowing. And I've done like a daily blog on my Facebook and Instagram, just letting people know what we're up to, putting some photos on. And that inspires customers that way as well. If they see you there and they're seeing like real pictures of it, it makes them want to go as well.
Yeah, it's more real, isn't it?
It is.
Than you just posting like a generic photo or something like that. Because remember, I've been to New York with my family a few years ago. I was still at uni, so there was a bit of time. Just so busy all the time.
Oh, it's manic.
So many people, like everyone's in a rush always. Like if it's 7 a.m. or it's midnight, you think. We went up to the Empire State Building, I think at like 11 p.m. or something.
It was still
rammed, and you think, these people ever go to sleep or what? But,
I know.
But I think we stayed like whatever version of the Hilton on Times Square. So you walked out and you're right there. And that was such a good location.
Yeah. We stayed next to Times Square as well. I do recommend people, I think if you're just going for a few nights, you want to be in the hustle and bustle of it all, don't you? Like it's where all the main attractions are. You can walk in distance. You've got the subways there if you do need to jump on them to get out to different places. So no, it was Times Square and that like Midtown Manhattan. It's definitely the best place to stay.
Yeah. You just walk everywhere though, don't you?
Like
you do about 20,000 steps.
Definitely put the steps in,
but it's cool. Like Times Square is another one that you think like, is that real?
Yeah.
Am I really here? Like it is crazy, but yeah, like 3-4 nights is long enough, I think.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I think I would say to customers 4 nights because I felt like 3 nights you didn't just get enough. Like I could have easily done more, but because we were getting hosted, you had like a bit of like a planned, like we had
itinerary,
of what we're doing when we're seeing hotels and things like that. So there's other things that I think I'd have done that, and I'd done that like a Broadway show I'd love to have done. But I didn't get a chance to do, so it's just one that I'll have to go back.
An excuse, yeah. So then, what trips have you got planned now? Have you got anything planned at the moment or not?
Yeah, I've got a work trip. So
these bloody work trips, like crazy.
I've got one on a celebrity cruise ship. So that's I actually go on that next Saturday.
Fucking hell, you only got back from New York.
I know. I know, they're close together. But when we have a conference with Hayes every year, and that was in Portugal in the start of March. So I was there, and they go over all the figures of things and how the other PTC's doing and what's doing well in the business. And cruise was such a massive one. I've never been on a cruise, so no, I'm really excited for it because the demand for them at the minute is really high. And I think it's, again, a little bit from since the pandemic, people are looking for a bit more of an experience out of the holiday rather than just going somewhere and staying on a beach all week. Whereas with the cruise, it's such a good way of seeing multiple places. And if you like that place, you can then go back to it. So cruise has like a massive demand at the minute. And when this work trip came up, I thought how amazing like to get to experience it, because it's one of those that it's not as easy to sell as your package holidays and things that some families like to go on. There's different cabin types. You've got so many different ships with different facilities on, and like some of the ships now are just absolutely amazing. The facilities they have on them, like you wouldn't believe that is like floating on the water.
Yeah, it's like its own island or something.
Yeah, it's
massive.
like there's water parks and things on them. There's all sorts. So
how doesn't it sink?
Yeah,
Crazy, isn't it?
With all them people as well. So yeah, I fly to Amsterdam to pick up that cruise, and it's with Celebrity Cruises. So they're like a luxury cruise line, so that'd be really nice. And we sail back towards the UK. It's like a British Isles cruise, so we're doing 3 nights on it. And then we'll have passengers on as well, which they'll carry on round, and I get off in Ireland and fly back. So I'm excited to see it, because once I'm like familiarised myself with the product a bit better, it'll be so much easier to sell. And like I like being able to give like personal recommendations for customers, and I do have some customers going on a celebrity ship in July, so I'm looking forward to telling them all about it when I get home. Getting them excited for it.
Yeah, that'd be sick. So then what kind of questions do people come to you with then about like holidays? Any common ones? Do they see your deals on social media and say, oh, can I do this for a different date? Or do people just come with you saying, I want to go away this date, what do you recommend? Or what kind of things do people say to you?
So I get all sorts of inquiries. You can get like the really vague ones where they're like, just give you a date, they'll go anywhere. And that's the kind of thing where you have to like work down, right, where have you been before? Where did you not like? Is the places you don't want to go to? Because there's obviously so many holidays. But I can sell any type of holiday really. So anything from a family holiday to a self-cared apartment somewhere in Europe to a worldwide trip. So I do a lot of families, and families tend to like your all-inclusive holidays where if they've got kids, it's just easy for them. A nice hotel with the slides and things at the hotel, so that they know that everything's kind of included. Then they can go and enjoy the week in the sun. To anything as like around the world trips, multi-centres in the US or Asia or Australia, people that want to get a bit more of an experience. And then also like touring. That's a big one, as I mentioned. Like people are looking to do more with the holidays now. So, and I love them kind of itineraries that people want, because it takes a little bit more work, but it's like a lot more interesting to do. And again, using my travel experience of when I've travelled to kind of put their itineraries together. I like it. But yeah, most people will message and they'll say either they've seen a deal online on my page and they're like, can we do this on this day? Or they see a hotel. Some do just book what they see and it works for them. And then others, I get inquiries through that they've just had that idea and say, right, we want to go to here. What can you get, kind of thing. So, and I'll know which suppliers to look at for that, to get them the right holiday. Can kind of shop around the suppliers to make sure we're getting the best price possible for them.
All right, cool. Where's trending at the moment then, countries wise? Because I know you said about cruises are really like hot at the moment, but is there any specific destinations that are really trending or you'd recommend for people to go and visit? Because another one for me, I just love going to Dubai.
I love
That's so popular these days, isn't it? Like everyone's going there, but I just think it's just so cool. Like,
I love Dubai. I went with the girls before the pandemic we went, and there's so much to do there.
So much.
I bet it's changed as well since I was last there, because it's constantly developing up. There's always new things to do when you
biggest
go.
And the best. My mate says he's going, is he going this end of this month or something? I've said, you should go there, you should go there. I'm like, I need to go back. It's so good. But yeah, where do you think's trending, or where would you recommend people to go and visit?
So depending what their requirements are, what they're looking for, that's kind of where I then base my recommendations.
So if they were a family, or if they were like younger, single or in a relationship couple kind of thing. Yeah.
So depending if they want to do like short haul, because some people do just want to stay in Europe. I've found like people, like for a couple, ones that do sell well is like Greece, Croatia's getting more and more popular.
Croatia's a beautiful place.
Greece is so nice. I've done a couple of different islands there, and they are really nice.
I've been done Zante in Greece, I think.
Yeah, I've been to Zante.
Not the nice part.
Holiday. Like
it was 18 and 19.
The 18 to 30s bit. I don't know if I'd want to be there when I was 30. They call it that.
I know. How do they call it 18 to 30? At the time when you're 18, 19, you think 18 to 30, whatever. But then when you're like, I'm 27 now, I think 18.
Would you go back to Lagos now?
No.
To be fair, I do book quite a lot of like groups and like younger people for like party holidays, and a lot I get are like hen and stag do's.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because the best man or the maid of honor do not want the thing of organising it all. And with it, when you have got a big group, it's just, it's people just prefer the message.
That's
like,
your job,
Sam,
yeah.
sort this for us. So I do a lot of hen and stag groups and to them kind of places like Ibiza, Benidorm, your typical ones. But for a family, Turkey's really popular because the hotels in Turkey, what you get is just like amazing. And I think when I went on the work trip last year with Jet2, like it's somewhere I would never go to, like an all-inclusive hotel with, like, it's just not my kind of holiday that I would personally choose, but families like it. So getting to see them hotels and the facilities that they have. And like, again, like I was saying with the cruise ships, like they've got everything on site. You've got water parks, you've got numerous restaurants that they can use. And like, I think that's nice with them hotels because if you go all inclusive, you don't want to just be stuck to one buffet restaurant and like repetitive food.
Yeah.
Like to be able to go to different a la carte restaurants and like you don't feel like you're
trapped.
Yeah, definitely. But so like that's the standard of hotel you get over in Turkey is amazing for families. So it is always a really popular destination.
Yeah. I want to go. I'm going to get a hair transplant soon this year.
Oh yeah.
I'm receding. It's not that bad, but it's getting there. So September, I think I need to go.
Turkey's a popular place for that.
That's the reason I want to go.
Yeah.
I got my teeth done in Brampton. So it's not too
Oh, you got yours. So yeah, people go to Turkey for them as well.
Yeah,
like
I know.
Cosmetic surgery, things like that.
I know.
I haven't booked anyone for that in mind.
That'll be me. I'll be ringing you up. I need to go September. Hair transplant ASAP. Right. So then I reckon people want to know, how do you get them the best deal?
Yeah. So
I imagine that's what people say all the time, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can see this for this price. Can you get me a better price?
Yeah. So I do often get people that'll send something they've seen online and they say, can you do this? So I can match things that they see 9 times out of 10 online, depending. Sometimes if it's like a Ryanair flight with like Love Holidays, things like that, I just don't touch it.
I don't understand how they make money because that's cheaper than the actual Ryanair website flights.
I honestly don't know how they do it.
They're dodgy.
They are.
Like,
they are. I don't use them.
Yeah, I've done them before. I can't remember where I've been, but somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
And like you try and get the boarding pass off it and you download it, but it doesn't come up on like your app or your phone. You can't add to your wallet, so you have to go on the website, but the website one doesn't scan. And then I've been like, please let me through. I'm going to miss my flight. And it's like, try and get in contact with them. Nobody gets back to you. And you think, I'd rather pay the extra 10 quid and actually be able to get through without any hassle than just saving that money just on this weird site that I've never heard of that don't literally care.
I know, because some of them, like, they're not live systems and things as well. So, like, when you go through to them, they're not actually as seen, or they don't have, like, luggage included, things like that. But, yeah, with us, and like you say, when you're having to ring them, if there's a problem, you can sit on a phone line for hours to get through to them. So the good thing about booking through me is I'm always on the other end of the phone. I'm easy to get through to. I'm just a message away. And I'm the one that does that work. If there's a change you need to do to the holiday, if you need to cancel a passenger off, add a passenger on, any changes like that, I do all the admin. So you just message and say, and then I get that sorted for you. You don't have to sit on hold to a company waiting to try and get through to them.
Do you have 2 phones then?
I do have 2 phones.
I was going to say.
Yeah. And I can often be on different phone lines at different times to, like, because we can sit on hold to companies for, it's not as bad now, but at some points it can be quite bad.
Do you have a personal phone and a business phone though?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was going to say, you'd be people ringing you.
Yeah.
That's one thing I don't like. Well, I've got 2 phones now, but I can't not reply to a work message. Even though I don't check my work phone as much, but when I had it on the same one, it was just like bad for my health and my mental. I'm like,
I know. I do have my work messages on my phone, but it's because I've got to have them for, and like if anything does go wrong, if the customer's abroad or they need me, then at least I can see it. But
heard that here first.
But yeah, so I've got like my Facebook messages, but I find it hard because some people message me like on my personal Facebook, some on my work Facebook, some on WhatsApp, and I'm like
all over the place.
Yeah, all over the place. So I just like have to keep on top of my inquiries and like my messages that way. But yeah, like as I say, we're saying with the suppliers, if you see like a Jet2 holidays, things like that, I can book that for the same price and a lot of people do use like Jet2, TUI, things like that. And you're then supporting a local business. They're making something out of it. And also that you've got someone else doing all the work. Like I'll sort your tickets out. All you've got to do is you just pay the deposit, give me the details and I'll sort everything. So it just takes that. You don't have to stress about your holiday. Like it's all looked after. When it comes to needing the balance paid, I'll get in touch with customers. They can do like monthly direct debits, so it's more affordable. Yeah, so you can pay the deposit. And I'll often put that on my work posts on Facebook. So like if I'm advertising a deal, if that like it's maybe for next year, so they can spread the payments out monthly, and that way it's like just more affordable. You're not getting to like 12 weeks before your holiday and thinking, oh, I've got that to pay for now. You're just seeing it go out your bank each month and you know it's covered. I can do like, I'll email hotels for guests before they go if they've got any special requests. We've got contacts with the hoteliers. So like, for example, I've had people like go on the honeymoons and things. I can email out for room requests, upgrades, things like that. So it's just a bit more of a personal service, but you're getting that with paying the same prices online. So
it's added value, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And then when it comes to doing the tickets, I'll do the online check-in for them so they don't have that problem with that you mentioned. They've got the boarding passes ready to go, and yeah, the tickets are sent out. I quite often like hand deliver my tickets if they're local, because it gets me out of the house.
Yeah, that's a nice touch though.
Yeah. And then I get
show that you care.
Yeah, get to see the customers, and it's a good way of like building up a relationship with them then. And if they don't know me personally, they get to put a face to the name. And like I've had where I'll go to a customers with some tickets over there for like an hour chatting to them and things. So it's nice. So it's like I like it because they're working from home. It gets me out and seeing people.
Yeah. What's some nice feedback you've had then from your customers and clients then? Must be some nice one. Because that's the thing, isn't it? Like, if you work from home, people you don't interact with people, isn't it? But then when you hear that, oh my God, thank you so much, that was an amazing holiday and that kind of thing, is there anything memorable that people have said to you that you think, oh, that hard work really paid off, or that's really nice from them? Yeah,
I often get messages after they come back like thanking me for everything, and I'll also get like people will tag me in the Instagram posts and things that I can repost on mine. But I actually had a message this morning. I've got some customers that are over in the US at the minute, and they've done a bit of a multi-centre. So they've done Vegas, and then they've gone to Memphis to go to Graceland. She's a big Elvis Presley fan. So it's always been like her dream to go. So she messaged me this morning. She's like, everything's running like clockwork, and they're going to the Graceland mansion today to stay. So it's nice getting messages like that whilst they're away as well. And then people, when they come back, they'll write me like reviews and things on my page with some feedback. There was two of my friends, I helped them plan they went backpacking for 8 weeks around Asia. So I helped them do the plan for that. And like she wrote me a bit of a post back when I came back, like thanking me for all my help. And again, using my travel experience from when I was there to help them with plans and bit like rough ideas of routes and things. So
yeah, that's cool. So then what do you reckon is the most difficult thing about being self-employed then over the past 13 months?
Yeah, so
we've talked about everything that's been good. There must be something that's been difficult and hard.
Motivating myself with working from home is a massive one, that you've got to be strict with yourself, because there's so many distractions when you're at home, and you can easily think, oh, I'll just do that, or I'll just go and do this. But just getting motivated and I always make sure I do like my set hours, what I would work like if I was working in a shop. So I'm always like on my laptop by like 8:30. So no, and like I try and stick to that, so that, because you could easily get lazy working from home and just be like, oh yeah.
You still have a lion now and again. Yeah.
And then probably for me, the biggest downside to it, or the hardest thing, is the not having work colleagues as such. And like,
you're a social person, aren't you?
I'm a social person. I like seeing people, and that's what I loved about my old job. Like your customers would come into the store to do the bookings and things. But it is good because we're on teams, so we have like different teams with his. And one of the things I was worried about when I made the move, I was like, am I going to be on my own totally? Like if I had a bit of an inquiry that I didn't know about, or if somebody asked a question, I thought, oh God, I don't know the answer to that. Whereas usually you'd bounce that off a colleague. But we're with having the teams at here, so we're all split into, there's a few different teams, and you have like a business development coach. So we've got like Facebook group chats with us all in and things like that. So there's always someone to ask, and 9 times out of 10, someone in that group has been to a destination that you're asking about. Or so that is the biggest downside for me, is the social side of it and not seeing. But there's ways of getting around it, and like I say, we have we have like monthly Zoom meetings within our team. So that's like nice to see the others that are
A good support network.
Yeah, support. Yeah. And I'll have like one-to-ones with my business development coach, Helen, often, even just for sometimes just a crack on the phone, just like, and like if you're having like something going wrong with your day, you can go to her and say like, I've got this inquiry, it's not going well, or cancellation, things like that, because they do happen. It's like
always.
part of it. Or like you'll have an inquiry that you're just really struggling with to get the availability or things like that. It takes a bit more time. We're having to request out to hoteliers, things like that. And it's nice to have like, I've got someone to go to. So we're actually having like a team night out and things next week as well. So we're all meeting up. So some of them I haven't actually met because like you meet them on Zoom. Yeah. But to actually meet them, yeah. So no, it'll be nice.
So let's go on to biggest mistake or biggest regret. Are you going to do this one? So basically, Sam said before this, she can't share half of them. So we're going to do the PG version.
I try not to have regrets because
I've said this before. Everyone always says the same answer. So to say the same answer, then we'll move on to the next part.
Yeah, because I just think like, just try not to regret things because it happens for a reason, doesn't it? And like, if you make a mistake or something like that, you learn from them. Yeah. So,
Exactly. That's what everyone says. So the new next question is, what makes you happy? What makes Sam happy?
So spending time with my friends is a massive one for me. Getting out in the lakes and things with them. We'll have to go walking together and travel for me, like getting my own trips. And like I say, when I mentioned like my favourite country being Guatemala, December's always like a quieter month with work for me because people have like, they're thinking about the like Christmas and things. They're not thinking about booking holidays. So like I had 4 weeks off and that's when I went backpacking in Central America, December gone. And like, I loved that. And it was just that, I think because sometimes I miss having them longer trips where you've got the freedom of just no plan again. With that, I booked a flight to Guatemala and a flight back from Mexico. So, and backpacked two countries. So getting to travel still and my job giving me the opportunities to travel, that's like my main thing for me.
I don't know if you can pick up on the camera, but your lights like light up when you talk about travel.
Do I?
Yeah, right. I'm like, oh yeah. You can see how like passionate and enthusiastic you are about this. Nice to see.
And like I recently with work, I had set myself like goals last year, later on in the year after seeing like how my first like kind of half year went. And I wanted to hit like the high flyer status with his, and I just hit that at the start of April. So thank you. So it's like one of the top performing agents that are with them. So like, as you say, it's like my passion. So it's so good to be able to like do a job and have it as my business now where I get to travel through work.
It's a lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So then if someone's on the fence and thinking, oh, I'm going to book online or I'm going to go into a travel agent, why should they go to you? What's the benefit of going to you? Yeah. We touched a bit about it earlier, but let's close on this bit.
Yeah. So with me, you'll get a personal service. I'm always on the other end of the phone if they need me. I can use my recommendations and customer recommendations that I've had away. And it's just more personal. Like if you look online and see a holiday, you don't know anyone that's been to that place, send me a message because chances are I could know someone that's been to that hotel or been to that destination or been myself and can recommend, like give you recommendations on that. I sort out everything for you. So it's like less stress
done for you.
Yeah, like you don't have to think about it and you're supporting a local business. And I know some people think like, oh, travel agents are a thing of the past, but it's added security. You've got someone behind you if anything does go wrong, and things can go wrong. Like me coming back from New York, I had the 28-hour delay. So we like, if that was a customer in that case, they can get in touch with me. I'd have them rebooked on another flight. They'd get put up in, like, if with us it was overnight, so we had like an overnight stay and flew the next night, and I would look after all that. It's having somebody there that you know, right, I can ring if something does go wrong, because it's travel, it can.
Always does, isn't it? You're lucky if it doesn't.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just, having that extra security. I think more so since the pandemic as well, people lost a lot of money. Whereas any customers that were booked through travel agents, it was us that were fighting for them, refunds for them and getting that money back for them, because if they couldn't go on that holiday, why should they lose money? So it is that added extra security, and everything I sell is like ATOL protected. Mm-hmm. So if a airline was to fail, you'd be covered, everything like that. Like complete financial protection by booking through an agent.
Yeah, that's so important because I remember when I was younger, like 19 or 20, booked an Ibiza trip on the beach or something like that. And that went bust and it wasn't protected and lost all the money.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh my God.
And like when you can get them for the same price with like a knowledgeable travel agent, it's like a win-win and you're supporting them. So
yeah, it's the added value and the trust and the security, like you say, which is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool. Right. Everyone, if you watch on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the video. Like as well. Comment your favourite part. Comment any questions for Sam. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, make sure to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star review. And we'll see you next time. Bye, 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 bye.